clipping it in towards the penalty spot area, and Semenyo opened up his body and left-footed, side-footed it into the net. So half-time, so far so good here. City 1, Forest 0.
Welcome back to Matchday Live, and one goal splits the teams here at half-time. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. And of course, we're keeping an eye on what top of the table are Arsenal doing. They are also winning by 1-0 away from home at Brighton. Just some pictures of the boys making their way back into the tunnel at half-time. Steph, how will the boys in blue be feeling, and Pep Guardiola, after that first half of football?
Yeah, pleased, to be honest. I think it was pretty dominant in most of the aspects of the game, and of course when you want to go into half-time 1-0 up, which is the most important thing, and we really deserved it. I think we were pushing and we were knocking on Forest's door and trying to create some problems, and yeah, really happy. I think we can improve in some areas, but ultimately it's about winning, and 1-0's a good result so far.
Paul, I have to say, we always give the best insight and assessment here in the studio, but it kind of played out as we thought. I mean, they have been a threat, Nottingham Forest. We've defended well at times. They've kind of maybe not found the final pass, but I felt like we've controlled, and when we've turned it on, we've managed to kind of fashion chances, and maybe unlucky not to have grabbed another.
Yeah, we have. They're going to be difficult to break down. You know, got two big, massive brutes at the back of centre halves. They're well organised and they've got talent going forward. But I think we said it before the game about being patient. You know, and I think the patience has really showed. Slightly different. We're trying to, me and Steph are trying to work out what actual formation we're playing.
That was my next question.
Because it looks as if Semenyo sometimes is dropping deeper into midfield, and Bernardo's the one that's going and pressing the centre halves. But we're knocking at the door, creating chances. I can't remember the keeper having too many saves to make. Well, you know, that's the other thing. Steph was talking before the game about being clinical.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a couple of chances. The one at the end that's just whizzed across the front. You know, you're going 2-0 down, it's a lot more comfortable. But pretty good performance, really, without being outstanding.
On kind of trying to work out the team formation, I wondered what you both thought. How have you found, you know, Foden and Shirky both starting together? Because usually, as we say, we used to see them when Semenyo's obviously on there. There does seem to be a lot of fluidity, but they seem to have linked up quite well.
Yeah, they have. I think that's why they're in them pockets, is to be able to link up, and you can see that they kind of bounce off each other when the ball's near, and they understand what each other's going to do. But in terms of formation, we've been trying to work it out. I do think it's like the 4-2-2-2. But obviously, Bernardo, he's so good at pressing, so it would make sense of him to go and do all that running and allow Semenyo just to cover his gap. And I think that's the good thing about the team, is that if somebody does go out of where they should be, somebody else fills in, and they're all so good on the ball, so it doesn't really matter. Everybody can go and attack and they can play the balls through. But I think that link up between Foden and Cherky has been very good, and obviously Cherky sets up the first goal.
Yeah, well, let's get into that first goal. It was Cherky Semenyo, the goal scorer, but it was a brilliantly worked goal. It was right at my end in front of me as well, which was class.
Yeah, it was, and we spoke before the game about Cherky providing that little bit of magic.
Yeah.
Can go right, can go left, the defender doesn't know what he's going to do. He's put a great ball in, and Semenyo yet again in between the goalposts.
Yeah.
You know, for a wide player, he's in. Steph spoke about Sterling before the game.
For sure.
You know, he's getting in there and he's making himself in that 6-yard box a real threat all the time. And finish looked easy, but it came across his body, so he, you know, we were saying I would have dislocated my hip trying to
Even trying to do a practice in here.
Is that because the ball comes in between the defenders? It's a lovely ball through the middle of the defenders from Shirk, and then he kind of lets it come across him, doesn't he?
So you're looking at that angle, you think the ball's coming from the left, and it's from his lead foot, but the composure to let the ball come across you, but then side foot it at the same time without actually lashing at it. It's a wonderful finish. And
also, sorry, but I've just clocked his other legs. He's doing that mid-air. It's not even like he's planted for a foundation. So that almost makes it, I guess, that little bit harder.
And that's natural finishing ability, though. That's not something he works at. He's not thought, I'm going to let it run across. His balls come in, it's instinctive. He's let it run across, and as I said, it would be so easy to lash that over the bar with it being the volley, and it's a wonderful side foot he's finishing into the corner.
And just keeping on Semenyo, he almost turned from goal scorer to provider. How close was we to getting that second goal right at the end of the first half?
We were sitting in here. I was like, just play Semenyo, just play him in there, because he's by himself. And I'm like, 1v1, he can do whatever, and that's what he could do. Is just, you don't want to show him inside because he's got his left foot that he can go on to, and he did that and puts it right across across the box, and we should have sniffed that out a little bit. We should have been like a little bit more proactive in getting in the box. But I think if we can get him in them scenarios where he's able to do that, in the same with Shirky 1v1s, we know that we can cause his team problems.
Well, it's one of them. Semenyo, we're talking about him being in the 6-yard box in between the goals. You probably want him in the end of his own cross there, but because he's got that instinct to actually be in there to tap it in.
And from the kind of midfield point of view as well, because I mean they are. Nottingham Forest are working incredibly hard. You see the likes of Anderson running off the ball, but we've run just as much, and the work rate off the ball seems to have been a real kind of key part of that half as well.
I think it's been a key part of the run that we've been on recently.
Agreed, Paul, yeah.
You know, our work rate and our discipline has been outstanding because they've got some good players. I mean, Gibbs White a couple of times just took the ball in the half turn in the middle of the park and looked really good. Jesus has made some really good runs, although he's been offside. So we've still got to be wary of that. But I think Ruben's been fantastic because Jesus, don't know if you remember the game at the City ground, keep going back to it, he caused Ruben all sorts of problems with his physicality, and it's as if Ruben's come out today in the first 10 minutes and got really tight, really physical to let him know it's not going to be the same as what it was in the first game.
It feels in there, I mean again, it's all tied with this run and the momentum, but Ruben Diaz, particularly since coming back from his injury, and I was listening to an interview he was given before the game saying it kind of worked out well for him in the fact that we had them, you know, the 2 weeks where it was just one game a week. He said it almost felt like a pre-season, and he said he was already feeling all right. But he just feels, I mean, I hark back to when he first joined in that first season. He feels like you'd have to kind of, you know, be Lionel Messi to get past him at the moment. He feels in great form, Steph.
Yeah, he's in great form, and I think that is a lot down to Kuznov as well, because obviously he was amazing when Ruben got injured, and he's performed so well. He obviously got that little knock against Liverpool, and when you're in this team you've got to take your chance, and I think he's such a competitor, he's such a leader, and I feel as though he's got that responsibility of leading that back line and helping out in that midfield. But even today I think not only is he doing his job, he's helping other people, and whether that's via communication or filling in gaps for them and trying to organise people, I think them are the bits that you don't see. And I think even here when Forest have nearly attacked, it's just about showing them one way, being patient, being calm, and he's done a great job, as like Gay and Nunes, who's been really impressive this season as well. So very impressive from Diaz, and he wants to keep his spot.
I wondered as well, how much is that also informed when you've got someone like a Gay along? I mean, he's had Gavardio, Kuznov as well, taking nothing from them, but you've got Gay, who's, as we spoke about before the game, in such imperious form. You've got Gigi Donnarumma behind you as well. Those little ingredients must help a bit as well.
And also, he probably wants to be part of that partnership. That, plain and simple, you want to be that mainstay in that three, because you've got the likes of Kuznov on the bench, you've got Nathan Ake, you've got John Stones coming back, so it's the place is up for everybody, like for grabs for everybody. So it's about performing in these games and just doing what you can, but ultimately it's for the team and doing what's right for the team, and he does everything for the team.
I think that competition drives your performances forward, doesn't it?
For sure.
If you know they've got breathing down your neck, and we're saying about Donnarumma behind them, got Rodri in front of him as well, which has helped massively. And Ruben's a leader, you know. When he's not in the team, he hurts. I know they all do. But he's doing everything he can at the minute to make sure that if one of the centre halves are going to miss out, that it's not going to be him. Yeah,
absolutely. We just had the half-time scores on your screen there. We'll begin obviously with the one we're all close and following closely. Easy for me to say. Brain malfunction. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Brighton unlucky not to have got an early goal, but then Arsenal seemed like they to have just come into the half ball.
Yeah, it's always going to be a difficult game down there as well. You know, we've seen the chance Brighton had. The lads got to score after a mistake by David Raya. But look, we've just got to concentrate on what we do.
On what we can do.
We can't affect what's happening down the south coast. So pick up our 3 points but hope Brighton does a little bit of a favour in the second half.
Well, off that, if you're in the dressing room, if you kind of pep, or maybe you know your Diaz, your Rodri, you're the captain Bernardo. What's the conversation do you think that's being said, Steph?
I think more of the same, to be honest. I think when you're 1-0 up, you know that the game's not done yet, and I think it's about probably getting that next goal and making sure that we keep our standard, because sometimes we did give Forest that little bit of an opportunity, and if Morgan Gibbs-White had really kind of got through that ball a little bit better, then it could be a different story. So I think we've got to recognise that they have quality, but ultimately keep doing the things that we're doing, because we're playing really well.
It does feel like they might have fashioned maybe a clearer chance if it was just either that final pass or the final ball control. We highlighted the plays before, but they are a threat going in behind them. When they get the ball, they can play a lovely passage of play, and then they go very direct.
Yeah, they've got good footballers.
Great footballers,
really talented players in the team going forward. So we've got to be wary of that. And it's one of them in games that Steph will tell us this: when clean sheets are gold.
Yeah.
If you can come up against an attack list, keep a clean sheet, it's going to breed the confidence as well. Do you know what would be nice? A nice early goal in the second half.
Yeah.
Just to settle us all down a little bit.
That would be lovely. Right, waiting in the wings, we've got Alistair Mann and Clive. Let's hear their thoughts of the first half and as they look ahead to the second half as well.
Yeah, welcome back to the commentary position. Myself and Clive Allen have been bringing you the commentary on the City app. Clive, how would you assess that first half performance?
Well, I think the pattern of the game was set very early, dominating possession. A resilient Forest who made it very, very difficult to penetrate behind them in particular. But a really moment of magic I felt from Cherky. Drove into the box, great skill, lovely delivery, but then a wonderful finish from Semenyo. That's the difference between the two sides. City, I think, need to go on and get another just to make it a little bit more comfortable in that second half. But they've just carried a little bit of a threat with a couple of half chances.
What would you say has been the key to those two chances that Forest got?
Just being a little bit sloppy, turning possession over that Forest have capitalised on. They've been direct in the way that they've played to Jesus. His first shot was saved well by Donnarumma, but the best chance was created for Gibbs-White, which was a really tame effort. So City still need to beware.
Forest have been disciplined, they've kept their shape well. Is that something that they can do for full 90 minutes, or do you think it might just start to wave off a bit?
Yeah, I think it might well open up, because the longer the game goes, obviously with, say, a one advantage, they'll take a few more chances, I'm sure. Forest, they want to try to take something from this game this evening, and that might well open up or give City more openings and more space.
Is there a possibility, you think, of City doing anything different second half?
Well, as you mentioned in the first half, there are two fabulous wingers on the bench. Maybe the introduction of them would give them more higher up the field than Nunes and Nori, who are the most advanced wide players for City this evening.
OK, the thoughts there of my co-commentator this evening, Clive Allen. For now, though, back to you.
Thanks, Alistair Mann. Thank you, Clive. Make sure you get your commentary from them when we come back out for the second half. So, current Premier League table as it stands. Now, as we know, we've got the game in hand. This is currently as it looks. Paul, you made the point there, and I wanted to reinforce it, because I have got a bit caught up on seeing what Arsenal are doing and hoping that something happens. But the point is, and mathematically, if we win all our games from now to the end of the season, we win the league. And that's got to be the focus, hasn't it?
Is it irrelevant what they do or not? We've just got to concentrate. It's pointless us wanting Arsenal to get beat if we don't win our games that we've got as well.
Yeah,
because it means nothing. So, and this team historically over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they've just concentrated in the next game and gone on and won it at this stage of the season. And I'm sure that's what the message is going to be as well. If Arsenal do slip up, all the better. If they don't, it's still in their hands to go and do it.
And I guess as well, it's what we were saying before, Steph. You look at the players that have had the experience in the dressing room, the coaching stuff as well. They know what needs to be done, but fundamentally, Pep will always be saying we're just game by game, game by game.
Yeah, of course, that's always the message, and it's probably a lot of people do say that, but I think the biggest thing for us is that we have control, like the whole situation's in our hands. I think what Paul said in terms of winning all your games, that's you want it to be in your control, so really it's down to us, and I think that's such a good focus to have. You don't want to be relying on other results. Of course it would be great, but at the same time it's not going to really ever change what we need to do.
Yeah.
So I think that experience and the fact that you've got the best manager in the world always helps when you're in these situations, because he always says come March we need to be ready, and we've put ourselves in a great position.
We have indeed, and we have done that in this game as well. As currently Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. If it stays like that, of course, 3 points secure, but let's hope for a few more goals and maybe a correct prediction here in the studio. Alistair Mann's got your commentary. Myself, Steph and Paul will see you at full time.
Thanks, Cel. No players out on the field at the moment. Well, there are actually some people who are in the tracksuits, but nobody who's going to be involved in the action. We wondered whether Nico Williams might have to succumb to his injury. City have just made their way out onto the field, the same 11 that began the game. And I can see Nico Williams is out there for Forest, so it's the same 22. Remember, Forest haven't scored at the Etihad Stadium since they got promoted back to the Premier League. Well, if that's runs continues tonight, the City will have the 3 points they need. They've got 2 games before their next Premier League match, away at Newcastle in the FA Cup on Saturday, and then away at Real Madrid, of course, in the first leg of the Champions League. So this is their last Premier League game for 10 days.